What's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that bell notification so you could be alerted whenever I drop new content. Follow me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, at BoxingWave10. Oh, and also like the video. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done going over the fights of last weekend. Okay, we had a pretty good weekend of welterweights. We had the good Joe Smith, Maxim Vlasov fight, and I want to move on and speak a little bit of on the fights coming up this weekend. And yeah, that's pretty much. I just want to cover all of the cards. We have a few cards coming up this weekend. Nothing major. I will let you guys know if I'm going to cover the fights live. So let's go over it. So with everyone that's coming into the chat, Fresh BX, what's going on? Noah George, what's up? Yeah, so make sure you hit that like on your way in. Now, let's first start off with the DAZN card. We have Demetrius Andrade against Liam Williams, which to me is pretty much the biggest fight as far as boxing is concerned for this weekend. All right, so we have that on DAZN this weekend. So if I am going to cover boxing at all, I'm probably going to jump on that card. I didn't check to see what time these fights are going to go down. I don't know which time. I don't know if they're going to overlap at all. But if I'm going to cover any fights this weekend, it's definitely going to be the Demetrius Andrade against Liam Williams fight. That's definitely the most intriguing fight out of all of the fights this weekend, at least to me. All right. What's up, everyone that's coming in? Real Reasons, Eddie Morales, what's going on? Linares versus Haney. Yeah, I'll definitely cover it. I think I am off that weekend, so I should be able to cover it. But I'll let you guys know. All right, so we have that Demetrius Andrade against Liam Williams fight. And on the undercard, we have Carlos Gungora. All right, now, I don't know if any of you know who he is, but he is a guy that was kind of unknown in the super middleweight division that beat Ali Akhmedov, who was pretty a pretty popular guy on the come up. Okay, that kind of came out of nowhere. It was an upset. Akhmedov was a pretty respected prospect on the come up. All right, so Carlos Gungaro, who I believe is the holder of the IBO super middleweight title, is going to be fighting on the undercard of Demetrius Andrade against Liam Williams on DAZN this Saturday. All right, so this is that's pretty much what we're getting on that card. Now, of course, we have the Jake Paul against Ben Askren, whatever. That fight is coming up this weekend as well. I'm not a much big of a fan of the YouTube fighters thing, you know, but there are a couple good fighters on the undercard that I do want to see fight. All right, but Jake Paul, who is a YouTube celebrity, is going to be fighting Ben Askren, who is like a former MMA fighter. Didn't follow his career too much. Okay, I'm not really familiar with Ben Askren. I did check some of his stuff out, but he's an MMA guy, and when he was an MMA fighter, from what I saw, he wasn't much of a striker. All right, so for him to fight a boxer, and a YouTube celebrity guy that is a pretty good boxer. All right, we already know what he did to Nate Robinson. Okay, whatever, you know, I mean, I guess people are going to tune in. I'm not really overly excited about it. It's supposed to be a Fight TV pay-per-view. Okay, so it won't be on DAZN or anything like that. It's going to be on Fight TV pay-per-view. I don't know the cost or anything like that, but on the undercard of that card, you're going to get Regis Prograis against Ivan Redkach, and you're also going to get Lorenzo Truck Simpson, one of the, well, he's a junior middleweight that's going to be a prospect, you know, that much respected, very, very good. A lot of people are a fan of him. He's on the come up. He's going to be fighting pretty much a stay busy fight. You know, this is a guy that's still coming up, so he's not fighting the very best yet. But I'm looking forward to watching him fight. I do enjoy watching him fight. And if you haven't heard of him, make sure you check him out. Lorenzo Simpson, nicknamed Truck. All right. And then Regis Prograis is going to return in two. I mean, he's now campaigning at welterweight, and he's going to be fighting Ivan Redkach, who we know has been in there with some of the top welterweights. All right. Like a Danny Garcia recently. All right. Also, the final card is going to be a Fox card. Tony Harrison is supposed to be making his return to fight Brian Perella. Tony Harrison, this is going to be his first fight since the loss to Jermell Charlo in the ring, and also the loss to his father. May he rest in peace. I believe he passed from COVID last year, and he's going to be making his return till then. So I am also looking forward to Tony Harrison. I hope he's doing well. I hope his family is doing okay. And I want to see how he's going to bounce back from those losses, taking the KO loss to Jermell Charlo, but definitely the bigger loss was the loss to his father. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks on his return. All right. Shout out to everyone that's coming into the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. All right. So we're going to mainly talk about Demetrius Andrade here in this video. Here, all right. All the other fights, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm expecting Jake Paul to beat Ben Askren and knock him out. I'm expecting Regis Prograis to beat Ivan Redkach and possibly knock him out. Lorenzo Truck Simpson this is another fight on a step up. Not a big fight yet. I'm expecting him to do well and work on some of the things as he's continuing to gain experience. And with Tony Harrison, I'm just waiting to see if he's going to still be the same fighter after coming off of the loss and what he's been through and taking a loss to his father. So those fights, not going to really address those fights. Carlos Gungaro is going to be making his first fight defense. It's a stay busy fight. He's fighting a journeyman. He's not fighting a top super middleweight. So I'm just looking forward to seeing him in the ring. The Demetrius Andrade and Liam Williams fight is the most competitive fight out of all the fights this weekend, and this is the fight that we're going to speak on. All right. So Andrade, I've been talking about Andrade for a long time, pretty much since I've had this channel. All right. Demetrius Andrade is a fighter that is let me look him up. How old is Andrade at this point? He's 33 years old. And he just hasn't had the career that many of us have wanted to see. All right. Champions at 154 and at 160, two division champ, WBO champ in both divisions. Just hasn't had that big fight yet. All right. He's been in there in the divisions where there were a lot of fighters, the Laras, the Charlo brothers. We had, Floyd Mayweather was there at one point when he was still fighting. Canelo, it's just been a lot of fights. Go up to 160. There's Triple G there. There's a lot of stars. There's a lot of big names. There's a lot of good fights that were kind of available. The closest we got of a really good Demetrius Andrade fight was the Billy Joe Saunders fight, which we didn't get because Saunders popped dirty. They canceled the fight. And Saunders moved up to 168, where he's currently a champion up there, and he's scheduled to fight Canelo. But he had, I believe, 4 fights up there, and none of them were on a level of a Demetrius Andrade. And pretty much, we just don't know what's going to happen with Andrade at this point. He made a comment, which I agree with recently in an interview, basically saying that you have to overpay fighters in order to get him in the ring with them. And I believe that's true. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Andrade is completely innocent throughout the years that he's had. There have been some opportunities to not get stripped. First of all, not get stripped of his title down at 154. Okay. I know there was a deal on the table at one point to fight the Jermell Charlo, and fight Erislandy Lara for Showtime. He's turned that down, and he had a whole issue with Rock Nation at 154. There was an opportunity for him to go to 160 and fight for a title at 160, the WBO title, which was held at the time by Matthew Korobov. Okay, even there was an option, you know. So there were some options. I believe that, you know, there might have been an option to fight what's his name? Who's the Deverenchenko? All right. So there's been some opportunities there where fights could have possibly be made. We know that him and Daniel Jacobs are close friends, so they said that they would never fight each other. Shout out to my man, the J Roos Theory. Appreciate the support with the super chat. Enjoying the show. Great boxing IQ. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Big man. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well. He has a boxing channel. He does upload a lot of content. Definitely check him out when you get a chance. But Demetrius Andrade, going back to him, just hasn't had the fight. He was stripped of the WBO title at 154. I thought when Andrade signed with Eddie Hearn, I thought there was going to be a change. You know, I thought that Eddie Hearn was going to get him the fights that we've always wanted to see. I thought that because him signing with DAZN, where Canelo was, where Triple G was, that we would get some of these fights, you know, and we just never got him, you know. He fought Selecki, which was a fight that I respected. I respect this fight too with Liam Williams, but there's not a demand for it. All right. I respect these fights, but there's not a demand for these two fights. I think people are probably going to respect this fight the most since Vanes Martirosyan at 154. I still believe Jack Colque and Martirosyan is probably the two the most talented fighters he's faced. And those were at 154. Martirosyan was undefeated. And I believe that at that time, before Triple G got to him, Andrade put on the best performance against Martirosyan. Martirosyan has some losses, but he's always was tough. He was always a top fighter at 154. Okay. Lara had a tough time with him. Jamel Charlo had a tough time with him, and that was a very debatable fight. Shout out to my man Youssef. Thank you, a long time subscriber to the channel, for the super chat. Boo Boo really needs that signature fight. He's skillful, but his talents and greatness can't be recognized unless he beats a big name. Absolutely. Absolutely. People are just not going to respect it until he actually gets in there and beats someone that we all care about. Problem is, most of those fighters don't want to get in the ring with him. You know, he wants to fight Triple G. You know, Triple G hasn't been interested at all. At all. He never was interested. All right. This is even before the Canelo fights. You know, even Abel Sanchez that's not interested when Abel was his trainer. Triple G in his camp has never been interested in that fight. All right. Also, Canelo just never been interested. He wasn't interested at 154. He could have fought him at 154. Never fought him. Okay. It was close to fighting him. Canelo was pretty close to becoming undisputed at 160. Andrade was the only person that held a belt that Canelo did not hold at one time, beating Triple G, holding 3 titles. All right. I know he was stripped with IBF for not fighting his mandatory with Deverenchenko, but I believe that if the goal for Canelo was to become undisputed like it is now, they could have pushed to fight Andrade. It didn't happen. Canelo eventually moved up for Kovalev at 175, where he picked up a title at 175, and then now he's been campaigning at 168, which he owns. I believe he owns 2 out of the 4 titles. He's going to be fighting Billy Joe Saunders, and if he is to win that, he will be unified with 3 titles. All right, so Canelo is not an option. Jamal Charlo has said on camera, and I'll never forget, on the Boxing Voice, he said that he is not interested in fighting Demetrius Andrade. He does not want to fight him. He said he never wants to fight him. He doesn't even want to deal with him. No matter all the years of the back and forth between Andrade and the Charlo twins at 154, which led to 160, He's just not interested. Very disappointed. I've made videos about it. It is what it is. You know, Andrade wants some of these fights. Yes, he's missed some opportunities of having these fights, but even if he were to fight some of the fighters that he could have fought in the past, would that have secured some of these fights that we want today? Like Charlo, like Canelo, like Triple G, you know? So, yeah, you know, I think, and let's go over the box rec real quick and let's go down a list of some people that I think Andrade, you know, while he's still sort of around his prime, he needs to go after. If he can't get the Triple G fight, the Charlo fight, you know, if he can't get the Canelo fight, go after Jaime Munguia. He is also with the DAZN. Go after Chris Eubank Jr., who has connections with Eddie Hearn. They can make the fight, right? Go after Chris Eubank Jr. Go after Ryota Murata. That's also a very, very good fight. Sergey Derevyanchenko, not a bad fight, but people are not going to respect it as much because Charlo just pounded him out. Triple G pounded him out. Daniel Jacobs gave him his first loss. So people are not going to respect it like that. It's a good fight, but it'll be kind of around what we've been getting from him. Not a step up at this point, you know, even if he is the win and if he is the struggle, it's not going to be a good look, right? He is fighting Liam Williams, who has losses to Liam Smith, but that's the only person he did lose to. All right. And a lot of people are, you know, feeling this fight. You know, it's not the best fight, but it's a respectable, it's a credible fight. All right. Rob Brandt is out there. Everybody else at this point on this list, not really going to be respected like that if we're being honest. If it's not Canelo, Charlo, and Golovkin, it's going to be, it needs to be Munguia. It needs to be Eubank Jr. It needs to be Murata. I think those are the top three guys at 160. Now, if he goes to 168, there's a lot of guys up there. That's a different story. But if he's going to stay at 160, that's how I see it. All right. And thank you for both you guys for donating to the channel and anyone that's here that's donated to the channel in the past. I really, really appreciate that. Now, this is my thoughts on the fight. Liam Williams, big puncher, high KO percentage. He's been KOing pretty much everybody he's fought recently. They do have one common opponent in Valantes Fox. All right. I believe Fox was Demetrius Andrade's first fight at 160 when HBO was still around. I remember that was one of the, you know, when at the time when HBO was kind of coming close to an end. Andrade beat him in that fight. You know, it was a pretty good performance. All right. Valantes Fox, very tall for the division, very long, was able to give some trouble to Demetrius Andrade at that time. I believe there was some kind of knockdown in that fight. I don't remember. I think Andrade did drop. Okay, no, Andrade was dropped in that fight. That's right. Valantes Fox did drop Andrade in that fight. So I believe Andrade's been dropped twice in his career. Once by Vanes Monterosian, all right, in the first round where Andrade was dominating him in that first round. And then Valantes Fox was able to drop him as well, even though Andrade, to me, still was in full control in that fight. All right. Will says Andrade slipped. I can't remember the knockdown. So you may be right. I remember watching the fight, but that's like a fight that I saw that I never went back to. Okay. So I can't remember how it went down, but flash knockdown and a trip. Okay. Good. All right. So yeah, definitely. So that's a common opponent. And we all know what happened when Liam Smith was in there with Valantes Fox. Pretty much destroyed him. Put that pressure on him. From what I see in Liam Williams, and I started checking out his stuff. I wasn't familiar with him before the Andrade talk started coming around. I think I might have seen him in the past, but wasn't following his career. I did go back. I did watch the Valantes Fox fight. I did watch the Liam Williams. The Liam Smith losses. He's pretty much a puncher that puts a lot of pressure on, fights pretty much out of a high guard, likes to just come forward and bang, pretty much throw his combinations. and he's not a really deep fighter. You know, he's not a defensive fighter or anything. He can counter. He has solid hand speed, but his power is definitely his main strength. Okay. I know he was stopped by Liam Smith, and I know the second fight was pretty close. I mean, both fights were pretty competitive. I think Liam Smith, the danger with him is more on Andrade. I think Andrade can definitely box his way to a knockout or decision. But the thing is, Andrade gets kind of wild himself. He starts off really, really fast. All right. And then he slows down as the fight continues. So if he's not able to get his opponent out of there, he comes out very high energy and he gets a little wild. You know, he can box extremely well. Like he can use his length advantage that he normally has and work behind his jab well. He can counter well. He can move well. I think the only issue I've ever had with Andrade is kind of his balance. I never thought he had the greatest balance. So sometimes he can throw punches and be kind of get caught off balance. All right, when he wings that left hand. His left hand is not really a straight left. It's more like he kind of wings it. He kind of loops it a little bit, right? But he has a big left hand. But he likes to kind of brawl. He likes the exchanges. But I think in this fight, the danger here is that Liam Williams is a puncher. All right. And he actually wants to be in close proximity. He wants to be in, he wants to bang it out. He wants to be in a place where he can actually hurt Andrade. So I think the danger in this fight is, will Andrade fight his fight and try to beat him in his style of fighting? This can easily be a phone booth kind of fight. And the closer they are in range, the closer the chances are of Liam beating Andrade, by hurting him and catching him with a shot. And I don't think Liam can beat Andrade round by round. I don't think he can win on points. But what I do think is he can hurt Andrade, drop him, possibly knock him out, catch him with a good shot. But Andrade has power as well. He has power and he is very aggressive. He's very high volume. And I think round by round, he's still much more experienced than Liam Williams. All right. We might talk about his resume and everything like that, but Andrade still has fought the better opposition between the two of them. All right. Let me just go to some of these comments and read some of the things you guys said. Yeah, Noah said Rock Nation derailed a lot of careers. Yeah, you might could say that. They kind of came in. What's up, everyone that's coming in? If you guys are just coming in saying what's up, make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Most of you guys are always here. These are my punch quote. What's up, man? What's going on? 168 fight, he requested a full purse. Kid Chocolate was getting. They were from like 1/3 of the purse. Yeah. I mean, listen. I don't know if it's a DAZN Matchroom problem. It may be, it might be a problem with DAZN and them not giving him, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think DAZN and Matchroom might be seeing Andrade as being worth the kind of money he wants. And the kind of money that they would have to pay fighters in order to get him in the ring. I think that's a problem right there. I don't think Andrade has a huge fan base. He don't, for a guy that actually has been covering his fights for years now. I've been covering his fights since 2013, 2014 here for 8 years now. I can tell you that there's not many channels that really covered him. I think a lot of people that cover Andrade are mainly addressing him with Canelo Alvarez, and outside of that, when Andrade has his own fights coming up, for example, when Andrade's fighting Alantez Fox, people are not really talking about it. When he's fighting Walter Katuana, I'm not gonna be able to say his name right. The African fighter that he fought at 160, no one cared. Artur Akavov, no one really cared. You know, Selecki, people like the fight a little bit because people were familiar with Selecki, know that he had a close fight with Daniel Jacobs, so people respected that fight up until that point. Out of all of the fighters he fought at 160, you know, people knew about that Saunders fight, so that was cool because Saunders has a name, he has a following, people respect him, he's undefeated, and people, you know, he's a good fighter. All right, but the Luke Keeler fight, did anyone care? No, that was pretty much a stay busy fight, and I think that's the problem with Andrade. I think Andrade doesn't have the following like that, and I think also it's because that I don't think the promoters are really willing to shelve out the money that is going to be needed in order to get these fighters in the ring with him. You know, even him holding the title, it's just not going to be enough. It didn't matter at 154. It hasn't mattered at 160. You know, and I think unfortunately, I have a bad feeling that people are not going to really want to get in the ring with him until he's past his prime. He's shown it. You know, until he's aged out. He's 33 now. He's 33 now. So he might be he really might be one of those fighters that might get opportunities after he's kind of aged out. You know, I think guys are willing to get in the ring with him at that point, you know. Willie Nelson and Selecki are good fighters. Yes, they are, absolutely. Willie Nelson was a good name to have on his resume at that time. Willie Nelson did give Tony Harrison, what I was speaking on earlier, his first loss. All right. And a comeback knockout late in their fight. All right. So Willie Nelson was a good name to have. It was a good fighter at 154. All right. At one point. I'm not seeing what people are seeing on Liam being unequivocally better than Selecki. I don't know what people are seeing, and I don't know why people are just going straight into saying that well, you know what? I'm going to tell you why. It's the power. I don't think he's more skillful than Selecki, but I think he has the power to turn the fight around instantly, you know? And if Liam Williams were to fight Selecki, it's very possible that he would beat Selecki. All right. I've seen Selecki down in multiple occasions in several fights, and I think Williams has the power to hurt him. So I think the danger there is the fact that he has the punching power and the fact that they have a common opponent in Alantez Fox, a Fox who has official knockdown against him, whether it's official or not, you know, whether it's a trip or a slip. He had a more competitive fight with Andrade than Williams did. So I think that's where people are going with it. Okay, not that I agree, but I want to say Williams and Selecki is probably around the same level at least. You know, even if you think Selecki is better, I think they're still around the same level of fighter. You know, and at Fresh BX, I see that you said that on the same comment. They're on the same level to me. All right. So yeah, you know, that's how I feel about it. I think that Andrade, again, I think Andrade's going to win this fight, but I think it's a dangerous fight because Andrade, at certain points in the fight, he doesn't look that impressive. All right. I do think he leaves himself open. I think he gets a little wild at times. Okay. Sometimes I think he forces the fight too much. If you get what I'm saying, he forces the pressure too much. I think in this fight, he should take a different approach, fight a little smarter, bring the fight to Williams because you want to hit him with something clean early so he can back off you. But fight a strategic fight. You know, you can try to get the knockout, but work for it. Don't try to get it out in one round like we've seen Andrade try to do with Selecki. You know, where it didn't really go his way. And as the fight continued, he didn't look so good later, even though he was still winning. It ended up being a very high energy fight early and then ended up being a snoozer for the rest of the fight, you know? I said, do you think you could last one round against Conor Ben? Me? No. Absolutely not. Why would you ask me that? I have no idea. That's a funny question, man. Samuel Vargas couldn't last one round, so I don't think I could last one round against him. Nah. Young Hollywood, what's up, man? Everything is good. Everything is good. Just addressing some of these fights of the weekend. Like I said, I'm gonna let you guys know if I'm gonna cover the fight live. But I have Demetrius Andrade winning, and I think Andrade could stop him. I think he could stop Williams. He could do it. I just worry a little bit because if Liam Williams is the fine, let's just say Liam Williams catches him clean with a big shot and hurts him, either knocks him out or ends up stopping him at some point, or even if he wins by points or drops Andrade twice, because Andrade's been knocked down, people are going to say he's overrated. But if Andrade doesn't look impressive and he gets hurt and he gets rocked, maybe people will be more willing to get in the ring with him. All right. With all the shortcomings and some of the issues he's had in the past, we also got to admit that he's been ducked as well. And if you don't feel like he's been ducked, I don't know what else to tell you. Again, much respect for Canelo. He's fought some really great fighters. But at the end of the day, if you're one belt away from being undisputed, yes, you have belts in multiple divisions, 4 divisions at this point. That's a great thing to have. But undisputed is something that it's a lot harder to achieve. I think it's easier to move up and down in weights and win titles against different fighters. Again, I always compare him to Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner has 4 titles and 4 different divisions too. Or 4, he has the same thing. But when the best fighter to Adrian Broner fought, he's either had a loss to them, or he lost to them, or he has a draw against them, So, Canelo, not to take anything away from him, he's a great fighter, but I think he should have fought Andrade. All right. Definitely at 160. At 154 makes a little bit more sense because 154, Boo Boo got stripped. All right. He got stripped, and Canelo did fight Lara. He did fight Lara at the end of the day around the same time. All right. So that's how I feel about that. But I think I'm going for Andrade. I think Andrade is going to be able to win the fight. Whether it's by stoppage or points, I don't know. But I have Andrade winning this one. Liam Williams is good, but I think Andrade is far more experienced and a far better boxer overall than Williams. Williams might have the edge in power, but if he has an edge in anything, that's what he has the edge in. Overall experience and everything else. Andrade is just levels above him in skills to me, from based on what I see them both do. Levels above, levels. All right. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the fight this weekend. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, that fight is going to be on DAZN. Carlos Gungora is also going to be fighting on DAZN on the undercard. That's the guy that beat Ali Akhmadov. I'm sorry. He's going to be on the undercard, so I'm going to be looking forward to that fight. Tony Harrison is going to be making his return on Fox. Lorenzo Simpson is going to be on the undercard of the Fight TV Ben Askren Jake Paul card, and also Regis Prograis versus Iron Redcatch is going to be on that card as well. I'm expecting Regis Prograis to dominate Iron Redcatch. Hopefully get a stoppage. I'm expecting him to do better than Danny Garcia. That's what I'm expecting for that fight. I like Regis Prograis. I know he's not proven as a 147 pounder yet, but I think that Regis Prograis can outdo Danny Garcia against Iron Redcatch, in my opinion. All right. And I feel bad for Regis Prograis because I don't think he's a guy that people are going to be volunteering to fight. All right. I think Regis Prograis is going to have to rank up. Okay. And possibly get one of these newer guys. I failed to mention him yesterday when I was talking about the welterweight division. I failed to mention him. I failed to mention the winner of Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez as well when I made that video. All right. If you guys didn't check out the welterweight breakdown where I discussed the new, the old welterweights, make sure you check that video out. That was my last live stream that I did. Make sure you guys check that out. I didn't bring up Regis Prograis. He's a fighter as well. You know, we talk about Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz and stuff like that. What if they were to put Regis Prograis in the ring with them right now? You know, how would that go? You know, let's say Josh Taylor beats Jose Ramirez, because I don't know if Ramirez is going to move up straight up to welterweight if he is to win. But what if he goes and wins, or what if Josh Taylor wins? What happens when they go to 147? You know, how would they look against these new guys on the come up? All right, so Regis Prograis, I'm looking forward to seeing that fight, but he's already fought guys on Ivan Redcash's level. I think if Regis Prograis loses again to anyone, because the Josh Taylor fight was very debatable, it was very close. If Regis Prograis lose a fight, it has to be to another elite fighter. I don't think anybody that's not elite, a top 5 welterweight, beat Regis Prograis. And a Regis Prograis fight with any of these younger guys on the come up is a dangerous fight for all of them. You know, Jaron Ennis beating Lipinets, great test, great win. Same thing with Ortiz and Maurice Hooker. Great test, great win. But Regis Prograis is a lot more dangerous. You know, and I don't feel like guys like, I know he was trying to get the Adrian Broner fight. Keith Thurman's around. Keith Thurman wouldn't fight him. You know, all the guys that's kind of on their way out, they're not going to take a risk by fighting Regis Prograis unless he's a mandatory, unless it's ordered. You know, and even if it was ordered, I still don't think these fighters are going to jump in the ring with Regis Prograis right now. Just don't see it. Shields and Marshall. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk. What's up, bro? How you doing? Shout out to everyone that's just joining us. Shields versus Marshall. I want to see the fight. I saw Marshall's fight. I didn't talk about it because I really didn't like the opponent. I don't like these opponents. Not saying it's her fault. And I think that's probably the problem with women's boxing right now. There's not that many top female boxers at this point. You know, and I would love to see Shields against Marshall. You know, they have history. They fought as amateurs. You know, Marshall did beat Shields. So I really want to see the fight. You know, Marshall's calling her out now, and it's cool. Listen, I would love to see the fight because I want to see Shields fight some other top fighter. And Marshall definitely has the skill. She has the power. She's going to keep stopping these girls that they put her in the ring with. But Shields fought the better fighters as a professional, without a doubt. All right? But I'm not saying that means everything. That might not mean nothing when they get in the ring. I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. And at this point, I think that is the best fight for Shields at this point. That's the best fight for her. I would love to see that fight. That is a big fight. And that would be probably, for me, that would be the biggest fight for me in women's boxing. For me, personally. Yeah, I want to see it. So if they can make that happen, that would be great. They're pushing for it, but that's the kind of fights we need to see. All right, so I'm looking forward to that. All right. Does AJ versus Fury get announced tomorrow? I hope so, because I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready to talk about it. I haven't done anything on it. You know why? Because I don't want to get fooled. You know, a lot of you have been asking me to address this fight, and I'm like, well, is it going to happen? I don't know. I feel like it's not. So I hope it gets announced. I think it's really all about money. And hopefully we get it. Because every week is either Tyson Fury or John Fury or, you know, Eddie Hearn. They're doing a lot of talking. I don't care about that. Are we going to get the fight or not? You know, I saw the Gerwin and Casas fight. I didn't watch the whole thing because I was covering the fight live. I was covering the other fights that was going down on ESPN. So I had the fight on, but I wasn't paying attention round by round. It looked to be a very entertaining fight, but Gerwin and Casas, to me, doesn't look like he's on the level of the other champions and the other top fighters in the division. I'm not sold on him. Tanaka, Ioka, Chocolatito, Estrada, Sora Runrisai. Those guys are much better to me. Just my opinion. All right. So yeah. No chance for Ivan Verkes. No chance there. No chance. All right. So listen, this was just gonna be a quick live. I gotta head out. I just wanted to chop it up with you guys. Just before you guys leave, and make sure you guys hit that like button. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been doing more lives lately. I'm trying to make this more of a podcast type of thing. I'm trying to transition over to doing that, where I do want to do a video per week. It's just talking about the fight cards of the week and just boxing news. It's not much news this week, but I want to continue to try to stay consistent with it, but I want to make it like a podcasting type of thing. And eventually I'm going to put it on more platforms. All right. But it's hard to do with me. Unlike most channels, I can't put out content every day throughout the day like most channels. I wish I could. I can't. Certain weeks it's hard for the whole week to even do any content. All right. But I'm trying to manage everything so I can put out more content for you guys. And I feel like I need to, because unfortunately for YouTube, there's not many channels that I really listen to. I see what's going on out there. I pay attention. I might not address other channels. I've never been a channel to address other channels unless I'm just showing them love and support. But I see what's going on out there a little bit. I pay attention to a little bit. I might be late to the party and all the YouTube gossip. I try to stay out of it because it's just not my thing. It's a lot of channels, a lot of nonsense going on. I don't want to be a part of all of that. All right. I kind of just do my own thing. But I'm going to try to remain doing more lives. I know some of you, sometimes I put out videos. They're exclusive. They're the premiere videos. If I can't get on live, I do a recording. I have to step out. All right. But I know if I can have a little time to chat with you guys, I will do live. Either way, it's the same to me. All right. I do enjoy reading your comments. But yeah, I do the best that I can do with the channel. All right. But I will try to remain consistent with doing lives on the boxing news of the week, the fights coming up for the weekend, and doing like a weekend recap, which is what I did yesterday. All right. So anyway, I'm going to be out again. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell notification, because people will always say they don't get the notifications whenever I drop new content. For whatever reason, YouTube bugs out a lot. All right. So that's it, man. I hope you guys enjoy your day, and hopefully I can see you tomorrow. All right. Peace.